Good morning, class. This is Mr. Robles. I am recording this video for Wednesday, January 16th. So you know by now that our next stage in the process is to create wind turbine generators. Yesterday in class we watched this intro video. If you were not here, please make sure that you're watching this before you get started with this activity. So your deliverable for this project and what you are working on in class today is creating a wind turbine blade that you will be laser cutting and then assembling together onto the KIDWIND stand that I showed you guys in class yesterday. The way you want to get started with this is by reading through the instructions and introduction on this assignment page on Canvas. Please make sure that you're reading all the way through the instructions because there are download links to some of the components that you will need to be using in SolidWorks today. So to get started with this, you are going to be in SolidWorks creating a flat profile for the first type of blade that you will be making. We are going to be laser cutting these blades out of balsa wood and cardboard. So to get started, you want to use a new file and you want to make sure that you select part. Once you have selected part, you will be able to create a new part file, and here's where you are going to be designing your blade that will get laser cut. So in order to get started with this, you want to select sketch up in the top left corner. We have done this before. Once you pick sketch, you are going to select the front plane, and in this front plane you will be starting by creating a center rectangle that is going to represent the maximum area that your blade can fit inside of. So make sure that from the drop down menu for rectangle that you select center rectangle. From there you are going to click on the origin, and we're just going to draw a rectangle that arbitrarily kind of fills about half of our work area. Once you have that, we are going to add the following dimensions to it. So with the Smart Dimension tool, this is still inside of your Sketch tab in your Sketch toolbox. With the Smart Dimension tool, you are going to dimension this rectangle to 9 inches long, 9, enter, and 3 inches tall by clicking on the sideline. 3 inches. Okay. Once you have this, this rectangle represents the maximum area that your blade can be. This does not mean that you need to make your blade fill that whole area. This also does not mean that you are allowed to make your blade a simple rectangle like what we have here now. The next step is to highlight everything in that rectangle. And you'll notice that right now some of these lines are solid and some of them are dashed like the ones you see here. We are going to make sure that all of the lines are dashed, making sure that we uncheck and recheck this box for construction. And that means that SolidWorks is not going to make anything with those lines. We are going to use them only as reference. Once all of those lines have been made into construction lines that we will be using as reference, you may start to draw whatever your heart desires for your wind turbine blade. One way you can do this is by creating different arcs. You can use different lines. You can use the spline tool. Any of the sketch tools that we had learned about using in the past, you can do that. I'm going to start by making my wind turbine blade flat on one side. So here's what I want you guys to keep in mind. Our overall shape of your wind turbine blade is laying here horizontally inside of this rectangle outline. So whatever we draw is going to fit horizontally inside of this rectangle outline. If I was going to make a wind turbine blade that had lots of squiggly lines, because that's what I feel like drawing right now, then I can start inside that rectangle shape, creating whatever squiggly lines I wanted to for my wind turbine blade design, and I'm trying to go for something that looks like a feather. So this fits inside of that rectangle. Here's the overall shape with the spline tool that I used right now. One thing that's really cool with this is that once you draw, if you decide, you know what, it's not exactly the way I want it, you can grab these nodes and stretch and shrink things accordingly until you get into the shape that you want. So whatever shape you decide to draw, whether it's a lightning bolt shape with these straight lines, or if you use arcs or slot tools or splines, whatever you want to do, it has to fit horizontally inside of this rectangle outline. Once we have that, you are going to be using the straight line tool to create a straight line along the bottom, what will be the bottom of your wind turbine blade. So here we have a shape. It's a complete outline. It's one whole shape. There are no disconnected or overlapped lines. When you have this, you are ready to extrude. So we're going to go over to the Features tab, Extruded Boss, and SolidWorks should automatically recognize that you have a profile there because it's a completed shape that you want to do something and turn it into 3D. The important part here is the thickness of your wind turbine blade. So you're going to make sure that you type in 0.125 because we will be using 0.125 or 1/8 inch thick material. And also, the second most important thing is this option here where it says blind for the direction of your extrusion. We are going to be changing that to midplane. Make sure that you select midplane here. If you don't, the following steps when you are assembling your wind turbine blade will not work. So make sure you select midplane. Selecting midplane, and we're ready to extrude. I can hit the green check mark and we're ready to move on. Okay, so here's my wind turbine blade. It's pretty lame, I know, but it'll work for the example that we're doing right now. So one thing that I showed you guys in class yesterday is that all of the wind turbine blades that you make will be attaching to these plastic hubs that mount onto the generator, and those plastic hubs have inserts for a 1/4 inch shaft. So we're going to need to make a cut into our blade where we can attach a 1/4 inch wooden dowel. I'm going to show you guys how to do this now, and insert it into the hub. So the first step that we're going to need to do for that is back over here in our wind turbine blade, you're going to click on one of the flat surfaces of your blade and create a new sketch. This is when after you right click, it's the second button in the second row. So again, whatever you're doing with it, I'm rotating it around to look at this right now. You're going to click on the flat surface of it, right click, second button, second row for sketch. So right now, we're creating a sketch on that flat surface, but it's not really facing directly towards you. So to make this flat towards you and flat on your screen, you are going to hold Control on your keyboard and press the number 8. When you press Control and the number 8, it's going to make it flat on your screen, and now we're ready to make the next cut. So again, using center rectangle, we are going to click along the bottom flat edge of your blade, and then we're going to create a rectangle that stretches outwards towards the inside of it. Now we're going to use this for the cut to attach our wind turbine blade shaft. So what you're going to do is, again, using the Smart Dimension tool, you're going to dimension two different things. One is the width or the space for that wind turbine shaft. And that width needs to be matching with the diameter of the shaft, and that's 0.25 inches. 0.25 inches. The next is how deep is that cut going to go into the shape of our wind turbine blade. And this cut needs to be 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. 1.5, enter. Once you've done that, we are ready to again do an extrude cut, and we're going to cut out this pocket to make it match our wind turbine blade shaft. So we'll go to the Features tab. In the Features tab, you're going to select Cut Extrude or Extruded Cut, and SolidWorks again will automatically recognize that you have created a shape, a complete profile that we're going to cut through. You are going to select Through All and the green check mark. When you do that, you will have this cut out on your door, on the pocket of your wind turbine blade, and you are ready to extrude cut this and attach it to the rest of your wind turbine blade. So an important thing here is you want to make sure that when you get to this point that you are clicking File, Save As, and attaching it or saving it into your folder for this class. In this case, I'm just going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to name this Wind Turbine Blade and save. When you save this as your wind turbine blade, your next step is to go and download all of the parts that you need to attach this to your wind turbine generator and create an assembly that you'll be able to take your screenshot and turn it in. So step one in your deliverables on Canvas was to turn in a DXF of your blade design. So one of the first things that you're going to do when you're done with this, you are going to right click on this flat surface. So the flat surface of your blade, right click and export to DXF. When you select export to DXF, you will be able to save that DXF file, and this is what we're actually going to use to laser cut on the laser cutter and get your designs cut so we can make your wind turbine blades. So again, you right click on the surface, export to DXF, and you're going to save this in your desktop or in your folder for this class, and you can make sure that the file type is DXF. So here's step one of your deliverables for today. This part is done. It will give you a preview of the outline that will be getting laser cut, and you can make sure you click Save in the bottom right corner. Once you click Save, you're ready to move on to the next part. So on Canvas, I have left you instructions that direct you to download SOLIDWORKS assembly components to put together your wind turbine blade design. When you click on these two links, you will be taken to some download links on GrabCAD, where you will be able to download the KIDWIND shaft and also the hub. I have previously downloaded these already, and I have them currently open in SOLIDWORKS. Once you have these downloaded, the first one that you are going to start with is your wind turbine blade or wind turbine hub assembly. You want to make sure that you start with this hub assembly. So if you are choosing to make 3 blades for your wind turbine, or 5 blades for your wind turbine, or 2 blades for your wind turbine, whatever design you go with, you know that you have to have between 2 and 5, you are going to start with this hub assembly. When you open this hub assembly, you will be going and creating a new assembly from this assembly that I'm giving you. The way that you do this is as follows. Up in the top left corner near the red SOLIDWORKS logo, you are going to select File, then Make Assembly from Assembly. When you do this, it's going to open up a new file. Here's a new assembly, and you will automatically have selected the hub assembly that you started with. You can click in the center of your screen. When you click in the center of your screen, it'll locate the hub assembly there, and you're ready to start inserting other parts to assemble the rest of your wind turbine. So to insert more parts, in the top left corner there's a button that says Insert Components. When you select that, you will be able to select from other parts that you have recently opened, including your wind turbine blade and the KIDWIND shaft. If these parts do not show up here, all you have to do is click on the Browse button and then go find them on your desktop or in the folder where you saved these for this class. So the first thing after the hub you want to open is the KIDWIND shaft. So I will select the KIDWIND shaft, click that once, and then click this next to the hub. That's step one. Then we're also going to insert component and select our wind turbine blade. And I'm just going to go ahead and place this somewhere where it's not blocking my view here. Okay, once you have these three components to start, you may begin assembling your wind turbine blade inside of SolidWorks. To do this, we are going to start something new called mates or constraints. In SolidWorks, you are able to attach different parts together, much like as if you are gluing parts together in the real world, or if you're screwing different parts together, clamping different parts together. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. Inside of your assembly, you have a tool in the top left corner called Mate. You're going to select Mate, and this is a very simple process. We're going to click on the bottom of one of your KIDWIND shafts and into the bottom of one of the holes where the shaft is supposed to go. That's step one. Green check mark. And we're ready for the next step. Then you're going to click on the inside surface of where the shaft is supposed to go. This is a hole here. We'll click on that inside surface, and then we'll click the outside surface of this shaft. Green check mark. Okay, so we have a start here for how we're going to assemble our blade. You can probably tell where we're going with this next, and that is to attach the inside of our blade here to the end of the shaft. So again, we're going to select the Mate tool, and we'll click on this inside of the pocket and attach that to the end of the shaft. Step one, that's done. So we have one thing left to do here, and that is to make sure that these are centered. So you could move this around to try to make it match where it's supposed to go, or we can just mate these the way it's supposed to be. So we are going to do this. You are going to do a mate between the round outside part of the shaft and the inside of your wind turbine cutout. That's one. Green check mark. And then we'll do this again, but to the outside face. So I'm going to click on the outside face, outside flat part of the wind turbine blade, and the outside round part of the shaft. Oh, I see that one of our mates got messed up here. So if this happens and your wind turbine blade is not attached where it's supposed to be, here's how you might be able to fix it. Oh, down here in the bottom left corner, you can select Mates, and one of these tangents, we're going to right click on it and select Flip Mate Attachment. There we go. So what the process that I just walked you guys through right now, you are going to repeat this either twice or 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, depending on how many blades your wind turbine is going to have. Once you have assembled this, you are ready to use Snipping tool. You can take a screenshot of your assembly, and you will be submitting this on Canvas into the assignment for the wind turbine blade stage 1. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Please make sure that you rewind and watch the instructions again. If you have any other questions, please read through the instructions and description of the assignment here. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.